Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. Claire Berger and Bud Clark are here with Reputation Biz. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Great
Joe.
to have you here. I have a reputation.
I hope it's good.
I think. That's the thing. Maybe I haven't really looked into it. I suppose I should, right? That's probably the first step here.
Most people don't. You know,
Yeah.
From a business standpoint, whenever we meet somebody, we always talk to them about, when was the last time you've gone on and looked?
Yeah.
Look at your competitors and look at your own.
Yeah.
And it's shocking to me, that you'd think every business person would at least know.
But they probably don't.
And they don't. You're right.
Yeah, I imagine that's the first big battle. I think internally I have a good reputation for hard work, but outside, who knows? And that's where it really matters, I suppose. Because perception's kind of the whole point, isn't it?
It's today is, what does everyone do? Every single person, especially if you're in the demographics of 40 and under,
Yeah.
you pick out your phone,
Yeah.
your mobile, and you go, hey, where do you guys want to have lunch? Or,
Right.
we're going to go from Chicago to Park City. Let's go check in and see what the great events are.
Yeah, you're
and
gonna
you
check
look
it on the
there,
phone.
and then you see what the reviews are, and then you make your decisions based on reviews.
Yeah, they said, if I understand it correctly, it's the number has always sort of floated around 80% of people before they'll go to a business want to see the business online.
Even
They're going to
higher
go
than
there.
that.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, and of course, if it's great if they go right to your website and they get your info, but 9 times out of 10 they're going somewhere else probably to
Correct.
start with anyway,
Yeah,
because they're going to Google it.
Exactly, and that's why we're talking about the mobile aspect
Right.
of it. Most, we basically have an overall online marketing company. The Reputation Biz is an element of it,
Right.
but when you look at your online marketing, what does your website look like on that mobile device?
Yeah.
That's probably as big a turnoff as bad reviews. So
Yeah, you get one of those ones that doesn't quite work, and the phone number is where you
Little-
can't hit it and make it work.
Get the
and-
big fat fingers, it
Yeah.
doesn't quite function. So, we try and, when we work with a client, we spend a lot of time going, okay, well, let's take a look at what the facing side sees. What do your visitors see? And then we try and clean that up.
Now, when we talk about the cleanup part, sometimes it is about your reputation. Sometimes it is about maybe somebody who's been mean, a little bit. Rarely do people say just really great things. If they have a great experience,
That's
they may
right.
or may not, right?
And consumers will expect you to have a bad review from time to time. So as we had said earlier, you cannot make a bad review go away. But what we can do is help you get a lot of new good ones that will push the bad ones down, and then the most current ones are the ones that are the most valuable. And since Google basically rules the world online, Google really looks at reviews with a lot of, it looks at its credibility.
Right.
And it's somebody else talking about your business. That's why getting reviews is so critical to helping you rise in the Google search rankings.
Yeah, I think a lot of people may mistake what happens with the search engines and the algorithms that are written for these. They are probably some of the most sophisticated algorithms out there. And it does everything from looking to how many, to people traveling back and forth between the types of sites. You have your Facebook and your website.
Right.
It doesn't really care too much anymore about the words put behind pictures, even if someone tells you differently, right?
Correct.
What are some of the other things it looks for? We know that it does look for reviews.
It looks for all your social references, as you were
Right.
speaking to, so that's a huge indicator. And Reputation Biz is a software platform, and the
Right.
whole idea of Reputation Biz is to coordinate all of that, what we call streaming references or credibility, from all of your Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, and place them. Give your happy, we'll use that we always use that phrase.
Yeah.
Give your happy customers a voice. Most people go to these incredible, hard-working small businesses, and they all leave happy. But why don't they get the positive reviews? It's because the business doesn't have a system in place to get them. So we have a mobile device, mobile platform that allows you to just put in my first name and my mobile phone number and hit a button on your end of it, the business owner's side of it, and in a matter of an hour, you can delay it as much as you want. But let's say 30 minutes later, after I leave a restaurant, or an hour, how do we do?
Yeah.
And I go down, would you recommend us, could be another one.
Right.
And I just hit, yes, I'd recommend you. And then what pops up immediately on their mobile screen is Google, Facebook, and Yelp. And people have their own preference. A lot of people
Sure.
are Facebook people. So, well, I'll put it on Google, and they hit the Google button, and they're now on the Google page, and they can leave a favorable review. So you're giving the happy people a chance,
Direct access to the thing you want them to
and
have.
it's immediate.
That's
But-
awesome.
But to add to that, our system has something called intelligent routing. So if you said, when it asked you, would you recommend us, and you said no, you're not then prompted to go to the review sites and place it. Because we run into business owners who are afraid of reviews. Well, I don't want to have somebody, I don't want to encourage someone to go out and Yelp and blast me. Well, our system isn't directing you to place a bad review, only the good ones.
Yeah, that makes good sense. When we talk about this, as far as, I mean, there's people who try to say that they're going to manage your reputation themselves. This would be, and it's kind of hard to imagine how any company would have the kind of time to do something like that. That's why a computer resource like this makes more sense.
Well, and are they real reviews from real
Right.
people? I mean,
Yeah.
it does.
They
You were talking about,
because there's people who do them.
and you're talking about how strong and how powerful Google's algorithms are. They will pick up on IP addresses. So if I'm sitting at my computer and I'm putting in 15 reviews for businesses in Duluth,
Yeah.
Google will pick that up,
Yeah.
and they'll
None
flag
of those
it.
count.
And they'll flag you, and it can be a big problem for the business owner, trying. So what we try and do is get your real customers to leave feedback and reviews online. And what we have found is the feedback section, as Claire was speaking to, is that I'm going to put in whatever it is, good or bad, about your business. I recommend you or I wouldn't recommend you. If I wouldn't recommend you, I'm going to put in why. This is what happened. I had a bad experience. I waited too long at the dentist's office, or whatever it happened to be.
Sure.
When you hit submit, someone in the dentist's office will get a text immediately telling
good.
you that Bud and Claire didn't have the best experience, and now I can improve my business by knowing those things, and I can reach out proactively. We have clients like, we have Stanley Steamer and
Sure.
Beacons Moving. So when a tech goes out and cleans a carpet for Stanley Steamer, they get the review back. If it wasn't right, someone in the office calls them on the phone right away and goes, what the heck happened? Well, they were late. They left some tools here. It was,
Wow.
oh, well, let me send John out. John's been
Let's fix
maybe
that.
15. We're gonna fix that. Well, what did that do? It sends a message that we really care about customer service and what we do as a business, and we're gonna fix it. That keeps you from going on Yelp and blasting somebody because it's resolved. I vented, and you resolved it.
But to add to that, people will often not want to give you feedback when they're confronted face to face. So let's
Yeah.
say you went to a
Because
restaurant.
really don't like to do it.
It's uncomfortable.
But they'll do it at home.
Have you ever been to a restaurant and had an average meal? You know what? I'll pay. The waiter was good, but I'm never coming back because I didn't really like it. What if that happened to 50 other people that day? The business owner doesn't know why, because the waiter went over to every client and said, how was your meal? Oh, it was fine.
Yeah.
But if you were sent a request for feedback, you would have said, I waited too long, the food was a little overcooked, it didn't have a lot of taste, whatever it was. And then the owner would be able to act on it. But if he never elicited information from you, you're not going to give it to him. So we found that business owners who may have noticed a drop off in revenue, they don't know why. Everyone's showing up. I seem to be busy every night. They're spending a lot of money on advertising,
Yeah.
but they're not maintaining their customers. And that's another way that our tool really helps people keep on top of what's really going on when the customer's interacting with their business.
I love that you call it a tool, because that's exactly what it is.
It is a tool.
It's a tool to make sure that's done right.
It helps them in the respect that now I can tie. One of the other aspects is the software allow to tie the service, using Stanley Steamer, the carpet cleaning service, to John the technician. So if John goes out and John internally is getting a lot of 3s and 2s, not really good reviews, I can go back to John and go, look at, maybe we need to train a little more. Listen, John, you can't show up late. If there's something going on personal, let us know and we'll schedule you later. You can do that. If John continues to go down the path that's not good for your company, well, now I have to let John go, and that's a bad thing for both of us. We know that.
Right.
We don't ever want to let somebody go. But if I let you go, John can immediately say, well, the reason you're letting me go is not for these reasons, it's for this, this, and this.
Right.
And HR now has a whole lot of written documentation that said this is really the reason, and we met with John twice, and we did this. So our platform has actually been used for a lot of
Wow.
important business tools.
Yeah, that is important because those can cost you.
And growth as well. We had a client in Temecula, a small payroll company, and he had never asked for reviews, and he was such a great guy. Everybody loved him. And I bumped into him a few weeks after he started using our service, and he said he was slammed with new clients. Over a period of about 4 months, he had a 30% bump in revenue because he rose in the Google search rankings, and he landed on the first page. So if you
Right.
put in payroll Temecula, California, where he was, he'd gotten 20 new clients who were just searching for a payroll company and called him cold. But they
Right.
never would have found him but for the reviews that pushed him up the ladder.
And those reviews, that's the organic side of search,
Yes.
which, to kind of bring this full circle, there's lots of companies that are going to call you, especially if you open a new website. You're going to get tons of people calling you saying, I'm going to put you at the top of the rankings. I'm going to put you at the top of the rankings, right? You just pay us, you'll be number one. Yeah, you'll be number one maybe for a day, or usually one day. The day they call you to say, see, you're at the top of the ranking. And because of the way Google's algorithm works, that's the end of that.
It is, and that's the important
And
part.
it's
You were speaking of
artificial.
organic.
Yeah.
And it is organic. And what most business people, when we sit down with them, we say there are two things you really need to work on to be found online. And that's to make sure you're listed with your name, your address, and your phone number exactly the same on all of the business directories. And in addition to that, you need to have reviews. So part of what we kind of morphed into the fact that we find all these people that use our review service, so we started doing the business listing management side of it as well. So there's 200 or so directories out there, Yellow Pages, City Search, et cetera, Yelp, and we make sure that we call it a NAP, name, address, phone number, website, are exactly the same. Like here, you might have an address that's number 202.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep.
So
201.
201.
Yep.
So, but on your Yelp page, it says STE 201. Well, Google doesn't put those together.
Right.
They're not the same place. And business guy goes, well, that's silly. Well, yeah, it might be, but why
it's
don't we
gonna wreck
just
things.
why don't we go out and get you on 115 directories exactly the same, because we know your competitor thinks, quote unquote, it's silly, and you're going to outrank him as a result of that. So you take those citations, you add them together, pile the reviews on top, and like the payroll company, he rose from the 7th page, I think, of Google to the first page on the map, which is really important.
Yeah.
He was right on the map, and he came to us and said, look, that the only thing I've changed is adding Reputation Biz.
Wow, that's amazing, guys. It's so important. In fact, I've got a friend who's in the business where it lists it wrong. It lists her home address as a company, and getting Google to fix that is
hard.
Unbelievably difficult.
Yeah, it is.
I'm surprised.
We spend hours doing that, fixing it for clients.
I'm sure you do.
It's a real pain.
I'll let you help them too. But I want to thank you guys so very much for being here. You're here in Park City. Where can we find you?
You can find us on our website, which is reputationbiz.com. What do you know? We have a website.
Yeah.
We have, and you can call us at 435-729-0102. That's my mobile. So.
All right.
I'll get it.
Bud and Claire, thank you so very much for being here. It's Reputation Biz. Your reputation is pretty important. You better protect it. Much more to come here on the Mountain Morning Show. We'll be right back.